So a decision has been made, alhamdulillah, after kind of racking my brain for the past month or two, to be honest, trying different things. Um, I think I have more clarity when it comes to the next steps, alhamdulillah. And so what I did was literally an hour ago, I just sat down, kind of wrote the next steps, my thought process, everything to do with that. And what I'd like to do for this video is just read that out. Um, it's kind of like just like a journal entry, really. It's what I like to do sometimes, even before starting the whole YouTube channel. I had a journal entry laying out all the steps. And so this is kind of phase four, really, of the Shig's master plan. And so here it is. Over a month of deliberation and experimentation, I decided the way forward is Shig's. There's a couple of reasons for this. The compound effect. I've already built expertise and authority as a person who will give you, or who will get you / your child the top grades in their GCSEs and A-levels. First year I made around £100. The year after that, actually I might not say, I'm probably not going to say these numbers. But anyways, there's a compounding effect. All without really putting in that much effort when looking back. Reason number two, I haven't fully actualized the potential it has. All my money has been made through low ticket and sponsorships. To be honest, it's quite impressive that I made as much money as I did through low tickets, considering money is made through high tickets for the most part. I want to push myself and attempt high tickets. Reason number three, I've never really done it with the intention of helping people. Although I've helped thousands of people, and the intention was always just to make money. So what that led to is a subpar customer experience, and overall the channel not reaching its true potential. Not to mention the barakah I would have received had I had the genuine intention to help people. So from now on, the intention first and foremost is to help people, and in return, that'll make me money. Reason number four, it's more in line with my mission. Although it's too early to say what my mission is, what I always keep on going back to, what I always go back to, is an educational system that produces youth with high agency in line with the deen. Shigs is aligned with that, as it is kind of like an apprenticeship phase where I'm in the field helping students and figuring out the flaws with our current system at a deeper level. Wise loyalty isn't really in line with that. Now those are the main reasons. Of course, choosing Shigs has some drawbacks. Every single choice will require trade-offs. Some of the trade-offs include trade-off number one, YS loyalty at face value has much more potential than just helping kids study, but there is a bigger picture. Drawback number two, I'm having issues figuring out exactly how Shigs can be scalable. The only way I see now is to get tutors who are in line with my values and get them to teach instead. That's a problem for later though. Drawback number three, it has no link whatsoever to my degree. As in, software engineering will simply not be a backup plan unless I start from the beginning and gather the skills required to be qualified for jobs. And I think, inshallah, I'm fine with that. Now what I need to figure out is what are the next steps. But before I do that, when making decisions, I like to see how my previous decisions that I made, especially the ones that I made istikhara for, link to my current decisions. For example, I was blessed to have gotten the opportunity at School of the Allah to work as a marketing and sales guy. And it opened my eyes further into high ticket, how lucrative it is, and so on. Furthermore, also have access to, I'm not going to say who, but someone who's very famous in the marketing space, and he has a really expensive course or courses, and I have access to that because School of the Allah has access to that. And since I was his intern or whatever, they gave me access as well. And those have a lot of value, specifically when it comes to high ticket. Now, since that decision, which is the decision of joining School of the Allah, was made through istikhara, it was good for me. And so what I try to figure out is how can that dot link to this one? The famous quote, this is not part of it, but I just thought of this, the famous quote that you can't really link the dots looking forward, but you can link them looking backwards. That's Steve Jobs' quote, I think. What I try to do when making decisions is figuring out how those dots can link. And here's just kind of like an example. If I choose YS loyalty over Shigs, how would my time at School of the Allah benefit me at YS loyalty? As in, what skills would I have gathered at School of the Allah that would then help me at YS loyalty? And if I really try to rack my brain and figure out any skills, there isn't that many. And so what that says is that if I do go with YS loyalty, I'm kind of starting from the beginning. But if I go with Shigs, then a lot of skills have been built up. Kind of figuring out the exact funnel that works for high tickets, and also just getting validation that high ticket does work. It's where most of the money is made. And then sales and all of the other stuff, especially in the high ticket space, and ads and all of that. So let me just continue. With Shigs, on the other hand, I can see a direct benefit, one that can be implemented straight away, and I can see results out of. Hence, that's why I believe Shigs is the way to move forward. Now, what are the next steps? What I've been thinking about lately is the deeper issue with students. It's not just that they don't know how to study, but it's also their foundations. It's the foundations themselves. They're just not there. Things like sleep, diet, exercise, just mental health and physical health in general. Most students just don't have that. Most students don't take care of that. And so they can't perform even if they use the right vehicle, as in the study techniques. So although I've always mentioned these things on my YouTube channel, like through my YouTube videos and everything, I think it's time to approach it from, this is a precondition. Like, you have to have this before even moving on to the study techniques and stuff. Previously in the course and stuff, it was kind of just talking about like mentality, study techniques for a long time. And then at the end, there was like a module about health and exercise and all that stuff. And if I'm being honest, most people didn't even bother watching that, let alone implement it. It was actually really funny. It's kind of thinking. I remember I had someone message me and say that they really benefited most from the sleep advice and the exercise advice and stuff, and that led to an increase in their grades. And so, the students that do implement it, they will see huge benefits. And so what I'm basically, this is kind of me rambling, but what I've been thinking about more and more lately is have kind of like a 6-week program, especially targeted towards parents, where we're going to transform their kids. And this is just not going to be an academic transformation. That's the main goal. But the transformation is going to be just everything. Now, kind of saying that, it doesn't sit right with me, because I know that, riches are in the niches. Even though I say niche, not niche, but just for the sake of rhyming. And so if I kind of try to have like an all-in-one solution where I'm just going to get your child to perform, I don't know if that's the best thing. But that being said, I think the value proposition is still there. Like, we're going to get your child in a position where they can get the top grades. And to do so, they're going to have to build the skills required. They're going to have to build the habits required. And that's going to open up doors in every aspect of life, not just studying. Anyways, that's something to think about later on. That's why when crafting my offer, I decided to include 2 new things: a time audit and a health audit. Both are a complete audit of the students, how they spend their time, how in line their health is, etc. And from there, we can take them to phase 2, which is study techniques. I think I could teach the whole thing initially, but eventually I'll probably need a problem-solving tutor, a memorization tutor, and an essay writing tutor. And then maybe I could also get a health coach as well, someone who will cover the diet, sleep, exercise topics. Now, this morning I saw a Dan Henry video, which talked about how you can message a bunch of different podcasts related to your niche and try to get on. I think that's actually a really good idea. I think that's actually a really good lead gen strategy. You can try to find a bunch of different teen parenting podcasts and shoot them a message saying, hey, this is what I've done so far. I've helped a lot of kids get the top grades. I'd love to get on the podcast. And then, through that, build more authority, a lot of leverage as well, because, these people probably have audiences that trust them. And so it'd probably be a really good lead gen strategy, to be honest. And then to round it off, the vision is big, but the first step isn't too far away. I just need to craft an offer and then launch paid ads and see what happens. So that was the entry that I wrote literally an hour ago. Kind of just an update of how things are going to go for the next couple of months, inshallah. Again, kind of looking back, the whole thing I said about istikhara and how all the istikharas I made leading up to this point, how are the dots linking? And one thing I can't help but think about is how before starting YS Loyalty, I prayed istikhara. And I prayed istikhara for making the decision to invest into the Apple developer program, which costs $100. Like, it's not cheap. And so kind of trying to see how that links to me making this Shigs decision. What I'm thinking about now is, this is probably the first time I actually had to have this is probably how do I phrase this? This is probably the first time in my life I made genuinely a big decision that will impact my life forever. Maybe university and all that stuff, but it was easier making that decision, to be honest with you. Like, this decision has been on my brain for the past, or on my mind for the past month or so. I've gone back so many times. Um, and so what I think it was kind of like a decision making training. The reason why Wise Loyalty was kind of put there in my life is not because it was going to be a lucrative business. Maybe it will be, who knows? But right now I'm not thinking about that. I think the reason it was put there and the reason I went through that is so that when I have decisions to make in the future, I can kind of reference this decision making journey of how, I came out of it and eventually it was the right decision, inshallah. And so that's just kind of some reflections on why is loyalty's purpose in my life. There's no istikhara decision that goes in vain. Like, if you make a decision, you pray istikhara for it, it's not going to be wasted. Like, there's going to be some benefit that comes out of it. And so again, just kind of looking back and seeing how the dots are going to connect. That being said, alhamdulillah, I have clarity. The next steps are simple. Make that offer, craft that offer, and then film some ads. I think for now, the lead gen strategy will be probably ads and maybe podcasts. I don't know if I want to make YouTube videos. I don't know if I want to make like reels and stuff. It's kind of difficult to make reels for parents of teenagers because I feel like those teenagers will just watch those videos, and that's not what I want. I want the parents to watch them. And especially because my audience is predominantly already like teenagers and stuff, like GCSE and A-level students. So I think I'm going to have to switch up the strategy a bit. Another thing I'm thinking about as well is, if this is the way to move forward, then my time is going to be preoccupied with shigs. And I'm currently doing sales for School of Yallah. And I kind of agreed with him that, because I'm not on like a fixed term contract. It's more it's just open, and there's a 30-day notice, whenever I want to leave. 30 days is a lot of time. I mean, if I launch the ads within like a week or so, and, I'm getting leads in 2-3 weeks, then I might need to start thinking about, putting in that notice soon. Maybe not today or this week, but definitely soon. But again, that's probably a decision for another day. What I've also been thinking about is, I found out that there's some stuff that I might not necessarily be comfortable with in terms of the program itself that I'm selling. So this is talking about School of Yallah. Just some stuff I'm not 100% comfortable with selling, to be honest with you. And I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I didn't know about this until literally last week. And at first I kind of brushed it off, and then I kind of thought about it, and I said, I'm literally the one who pushes people to join the program. And that's fine, right? The program in itself is not haram. The program in itself is learning Arabic. It's not haram. But if it has certain aspects that are haram, and I'm the one telling them, hey, join whatever, then it has to say something. It has to say something about my role in facilitating that haram. And so again, that's just something I have to think over. Am I comfortable with that? But yeah, overall, I mean, I think there's clarity now, alhamdulillah. The only thing is internships and all of that. You know what I really want? Again, I don't know what's best for me, right? I can only predict and work towards, and then whatever doors open, and that's the best for me, right? But what I really want is over the summer to go to Austin, Texas, and work at Alpha School, or at least work with them. So Alpha School, the name is not related to like alpha males and stuff. It's just a coincidence. And to be honest with you, I think it's very important for them to change their name soon if they want to go mainstream. But it's kind of like this modern day school where they only do 2 hours of learning per day, and the rest of the time is just spent outside and learning practical stuff. And I listened to a couple podcasts about it, and I'm a big believer in what they're doing. I think it's in line with my mission, and it's in line with what I've been doing in the past couple of years. And so what I would love, to be honest, is to kind of get that experience right now with Shigs and all that, and then try to reach out over the next couple of months with anyone really at Alpha School for some sort of, I don't even know what my role would be, but just something, something for me to kind of get the insights in Alpha School, because I think the step that would help me in my journey to develop my own curriculum and stuff would be to start my own licensed Alpha School in Dubai. I think that's a pretty good 5-year goal. yeah, I think this video is long enough. You know, every time I make a video, it's longer than the previous one. Uh, but listen, that was the next step. You know, that's clarity. Alhamdulillah, I gained clarity. Now I just need to put in the work. I mean, I still need to press the khalas for it, but I need to press the khara and then put in the work. You know, I'm thinking about titling this video, "All Roads Lead Back to Shigs," because even last year, last year I did not want to do Shigs. Last year I wanted to do my own thing, just kind of figure out something new. I tried with the, did I even try? The Zakat calculator. That was never going to be a business, so I don't know what I was thinking. And then I kind of had this thought of, like, I didn't actually try hard enough with Shigs. And alhamdulillah, I did try really hard with the low ticket. Like, I actually optimized it, I think, as best as I can. The offer was really good. The messaging was really good. Even the freaking landing page, I did so many A/B tests and saw the results of that. And now it's time for something slightly different while still leveraging the position that I'm in. Instead of starting all the way from the beginning and who is Wise Loyalty? Like, I don't know anything about loyalty programs. I don't know anything about SaaS or like, why not just leverage what I've been working on for the past couple of years and just compound from there? So yeah, I think my biggest battle, you know, in the next couple of years will be with the shiny object syndrome, whether it's high ticket sales or wireless loyalty or even through Shigs, like different shiny objects that I'll encounter on the way. Anyways, that being said, I'm glad. It feels like, you know, a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. There's clarity now. Now I can just put in the work. So anyways, I'm ending off here.